Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. And if you could hit a thumbs up on this video or hit the like button on this video, I'd appreciate it as well. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live around 4 p.m. Central Time. Although I have been gone for the past week or so, and today it's 4:45. But yes, if you'd like to join the live streams and ask any questions or comments, that's wonderful. If you'd like to participate on the discussion outside of the live stream, you could consider joining the Discord I've created. There's a link for that down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. That is a great place to check out some of the different meals and recipes that I have been enjoying as I work towards my weight loss goal. Today is day 970. I'm 1 month away from day 1000. How crazy is that? Day 970 of my challenge to lose 300 pounds. So far, through extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, I have been able to lose half my body weight, going from 520 pounds to 260 pounds in 970 days. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you are succeeding with your diet, let us know what you are doing to succeed. If you're struggling, let us know what's causing your struggles. Maybe there's something we can help you out with. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's go ahead, switch over to the main screen. Hello, everybody. Few people checking in. Anthony, hello. Cindy, Matt, Carrie says, hi, everyone. It's good to be back. Yes, it's great to be back. Karen's here. Pretty Girl's mom. Our Tiny Acres, Stephanie Simpson. Hello. Plants Only Muncher, Annette. Everybody, hi. That's awesome. Seeing a huge crowd in here already. That's awesome. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I had a wonderful weekend, and I'm going to try to go over it as fast as possible because I don't have an unlimited amount of time today, but we had a very busy weekend with the family. Let me see what I can do here. So if anybody has any questions or comments, please share them. So this weekend, I haven't been live since last Thursday. The last time you saw me was at our house on Thursday evening. I tried doing a live stream from the house. It ended up having to do 2 separate live streams, and just kind of hanging out at the house, and then we left for our vacation and I never came back. So it was great vacation. Carrie here says it's so good to see everyone. Yes, it's so great to see everybody. Thanks for being here. So yeah, the vacation went as good as it could have gone. And Cindy is asking here, did I do a weigh-in today? I did not do a weigh-in today. You did not miss a weigh-in. I did not get on the scale today. It has been crazy busy. I knew when I extended our vacation that I was going to have a crazy couple of days. I did hop on the scale. I have gained a little bit of weight over the weekend, but it wasn't anything that I'm worried about. And I expect to see it come back down very quickly. It was not because of food. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but I think a lot of what my weight gain was, that I would attribute it to, is that we were in a new environment and I didn't go to the bathroom near as much when we were camping as I normally would. Also, I think that there might be something. I did a lot of activity this weekend, so my body might have held on to some of that food I was eating because I was actually using the energy where normally I don't use near the energy um, that I did this weekend. And I'll kind of go over all of that. And I should try to pull this up. Here as I was hoping to have more time to prepare and go over things about our trip, and I'm probably going to do a separate video about the trip and all of the kayaking adventures that I ended up going on. Did not expect to be out on the river as much as I ended up being on the river. So what our planned trip, it was a family reunion for my wife's side of the family. And it was planned for us to drive. I think it's like 6-hour drive if you don't have 4 kids and a dog. And, Pretty Girl's mom says tomorrow. Maybe I'll weigh in tomorrow, I guess. I'm not sure. I think I'm just gonna wait till next week because I'm not too worried about it. My screen just blipped here. Yeah, Carrie says that we had a crazy day after skipping out a few days of work this week. Yes. I ended up having to come back yesterday in time to do payroll. That was kind of my deadline, was I had to be back by a certain time to get payroll processed, and I took my vacations. Annette here says that that's the best feeling. I love this, Annette. Annette said a few days ago she noticed that when she shrugged her shoulders, her clavicle is showing. You haven't seen that for a while. That is awesome. That was huge, like for me, seeing the bones here, like this bone on both sides, and then like my shoulder bones, being able to feel my shoulder bones, and then being able to feel your hip bones, all of that stuff's going to start to reveal itself. And every time you notice a new bone or you notice a new thing like that, it's awesome. I think I showed a picture the other day of the tendons in my legs, like going from my quadricep to my knee, and actually being able to see that there's tendons there because all the fat is started to go away. That's a great feeling. Thanks for sharing that. I love that, Annette. Let's see. Yes. So Carrie says her mom hooked us up food-wise. That's 100% why we were able to stay for the 2 extra days. And I'm going to go over that as well. She had all kinds of food prepared for us that was SOS free. And Pretty Girl's mom says, you think you'd wait till next week? Good idea. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. It's there was a couple things that, yeah, I don't even know. Like, it's one of those things where I need to have it all planned out how to express it and do like a separate video on it sometimes. But I didn't have any concerns about food this weekend, and it wasn't. It was nice to have that. And then we also had the ability to be away the extra days, which we haven't been able to do that for the past couple years. And just the whole, just being away with the family and kids. I'm going to go through some photos and things. I'm trying to think of what I was talking about, what the trip was planned. So it was a 6-hour road trip for a float trip on Saturday, and then Sunday we were going to have to pack everything up and make that 6-hour road trip back. And so I was that was the plan. That's what we were going to do. The road trip down went great. We traveled, the kids have traveled down this trip every year, and we travel down to St. Louis, which is 3/4 or probably even 80% of the way. We do that trip a lot every year. So the kids are used to making the trip. So the trip down went pretty well. And we got down there, and just because of us having a dog, we had to make some different accommodations. And so for the first 2 nights, me and Carrie were in a hotel room, and it was planned that we were going to be in the hotel room for the 2 nights on Friday night and Saturday night. And we went out, we did the float trip, and we had just really a great time out on the float trip with the family and everybody. And I got looking at my schedule with work and realized that I could handle, we had enough guys doing the work, and we didn't have anything that was dire to be back right away. And so we decided to stay a couple extra days because Carrie's family stays down there till Tuesday. Anyways, so we ended up on Sunday night, we all kind of ended up, half of us were in tents, a couple of us were in a camper. And then on Monday night, me and Carrie ended up getting a cabin, and the kids all slept in tents. And it was great that they were all able to kind of get a bunch of different experiences. Our younger kids who had never slept out in a camper before because they had always been in the hotel room with us in the past, they got to sleep in a camper, and then they got to sleep in a tent as well. So they all got to do that stuff. And then, this year on the float trip too, we normally do it with Carrie saying, we normally get a big raft, and me and Carrie end up arguing with each other for 7 miles about who doesn't know how to paddle. Because the raft is just going to do what it wants to do. And you deal with the kids hopping in and out of the raft, and everything gets wet and stuff. So this year we decided to do kayaks. We had brought our own inflatable kayak, and then we did a bunch of other things. But yeah, I'm going to pull my phone up and go through my photos, and then we'll just talk about the weekend through my photos. Would probably be the best thing to do. So let me get this up here and see. So this would have been the first thing you guys didn't see from my photos, which is breakfast Friday morning was our standard oatmeal that we had. Carrie had prepared a couple servings of oatmeal ahead of time so that we would have oatmeal for breakfast each morning while we were on our trip. And so we had that the first couple mornings. And then this here was what I ate Friday evening. We had brought some leftovers of our pineapple rice. This was a dinner that we had earlier in the week. And so this was the leftovers from that we brought with us. So I had that for dinner on Friday night, or so to eat after our trip, because I didn't eat while we drove down on the trip here. And then I also had, something that's been great, and it's really cool to see, is that Carrie's parents have also started eating a whole food plant-based diet. And to help us out, Carrie's mom took a lot of time to prepare some of the recipes from our Pinterest board. And so this was mega veggie chili that she made for us. And it was awesome. And it was really nice too, because she uses a couple different ingredients than we use in our mega veggie chili. And so it was still the same recipe, or this, the same basic idea, but it had just a little bit different flavor to it. Carrie says that the pineapple rice is from our Pinterest board, and she also says that her mom is pretty great. Yes, her mom is pretty great. There you go, Pat. I said something nice about you. So yeah, she made this mega veggie chili that was really good, that we ended up having a couple times, I think. So and it must be that Carrie inherited it from her mother, but and that's just to make sure that we are all fed. Carrie prepared food for us for the 2 days in case we didn't have any food, because the last thing that we wanted to do is be out there and be without food, because then you start making poor choices. So Carrie had prepared meals for us. We had oatmeal prepared. We had this risotto that you guys recommended on the live stream I did on Thursday night. I think it was a risotto that Broccoli Mom had made that Carrie used some like 3-day-old brown rice and some mushrooms, and it was really good. So we had that that Carrie had prepared, and I feel like there's something I'll end up coming across the photo here, I guess. So on Friday night, that's what we had for dinner. And then I ate again on Friday. I ate a lot of food. So this was also on Friday. This is that risotto from the Broccoli Mom that Carrie used. It's the Broccoli Mom's mushroom risotto. It was really good. So we had that. All my photos popping up on Friday, and then Saturday morning. So this is a different meal. This is our oatmeal. The risotto and our oatmeal had very similar ingredients. The difference was the oatmeal uses steel cut oats and oat groats, and the risotto uses rice. But they look very similar here too. But this was our oatmeal for breakfast on Saturday morning. I did feel like the first half of the weekend I didn't have a lot of broccoli, but I made up for it the second half. So Carrie says that I only had a small amount of the pineapple rice, so that was like a snack portion. So I didn't eat so much on Friday. I would have had oatmeal for breakfast, and then that little bit of rice, the mega veggie chili for lunch, I guess, and then the mushroom risotto for dinner. So this was the oatmeal on Saturday. There is a picture of Carrie there with her dad and my son. And then this is us out on the float trip. So I didn't take a ton of photos on the Saturday float trip because I was worried that I was going to, drop my phone in the water. And I also broke my phone case this weekend as well, which was kind of a pain. I got a new phone case now, though, and so it should be all protected. But we were out on the float trip here. I'm trying to see. I did have some Lara bars as snacks out on the float. We also brought, on our way down, I stopped at an Aldi's and picked up a bag of potatoes from Aldi's. So we did have some pocket potatoes with us as well. So this is my inflatable kayak. This is the back end of it here. You can see I have the dog bowl here, a life jacket. I got our wet bag. We had, the whole family out on the river. It was a lot of fun with Carrie, the kids, and the dog. Of course, the dog decided that it wanted to go see its family anytime they got close, and so it kept jumping out of the kayak to go swim towards Carrie or the kids when they would swim by. So had to work on that a little bit. There's maybe a little bit better photo of the kayak. It worked out great having the kayak here. That I was, we were able to haul some of our own stuff on here. Initially, we were going to put the cooler on here, but the rented kayaks actually worked out better for us to put the coolers on. Let me see. That's just a picture of the kids out in the river having fun. And that was, the title of the stream here is nice to take a break. It was nice to take a break from all the stress of life and work and just kind of all the things you have to deal with when you're at home, and, being out on the river and not having to worry about anything else, not having cell phone reception or really any way to be connected to the world, was nice. And the great part about it is I was able to take a break, but I took a break from all of the stress of life. And food is not one of my stresses in life right now. So I didn't need to take a break from my diet. I was able to stay compliant with my diet because I had a ton of food. My mother-in-law prepared just as much food as my wife had prepared. So we were able to double our vacation because of that. Um, and it was just fun to be out there playing with the kids on the river. And I ended up getting a chance to do different trips with all of the kids and have different experiences with them all, which was great. And it's something that we go down to this river every year, and I feel like I know it so much better than I have ever in the past, because we usually just come down, ride the one section of the river the one day and leave. And I probably did over 15 miles of kayaking this weekend. And one of those miles was upstream, which was because I'm a fool and I decided to try to do something silly and paddle my kayak upstream. So let's see, this is just more of the family playing in the river. There's me and the big wet dog there. Carrie says that the kids even got along better. Yeah, the kids did great. And there's the excitement of going down and getting down there, and then coming home is kind of stressful because there's nothing exciting to be, you have to deal with being in the car, and you're just heading home. And so for us to extend that vacation and for them to be able to hang out with the extended family more, get to know them a little bit better because we're not in the area, is awesome. And for them to just be out with us both around and in an environment where we're not at home and not at work is awesome. This is one of my kids digging out a phone or something. Oh yeah, Carrie probably doesn't want me showing all those photos. This here is my son taking a break while my father-in-law is doing all the work, which is pretty common. Let's see here. Let me see what other photos I have of on the river. And then, oh yes, my mother-in-law made these plant-based Gabriel burgers that we ended up having these a couple times. Again, awesome that we had them. I really like the plant-based Gabriel burgers. I didn't even think about it, but usually we eat them on like lettuce leaves with onions and mushrooms. But I just kind of ate them like they were cookies. They should be the plant-based Gabriel cookies is what we should call them. And those were awesome as well. See, what else did we have? That's just the inside of them, showing all of the whole natural ingredients. You can actually see the beans in the food that you're eating. That's crazy. And then we also had some corn that we heated up on the grill. We enjoyed some corn while we were there. And then we did have some broccoli. This was broccoli also that was cooked on the grill. My mother-in-law says that charcoal is good for the system, so that's why there's all that black on there. And then Carrie, this was the other recipe that Carrie had made a bunch of. This is the stewed chickpeas. So we had stewed chickpeas. This is on Saturday evening. We ate that for dinner. So I ended up having some plant-based Gabriel cookies and some stewed chickpeas for dinner on Saturday. Annette here says that she loves charred broccoli. Yes, it was really good. It was good tasted. I just given her a hard time because she likes to say that when things get burnt. Some of the plant-based Gabriel burgers got burnt too. So, and then Sunday, this is, I think we had like this was a portion of oatmeal that we had left over. So, no, you put the brown rice with the red lentil chili. That's coming up. That's one of our meals coming up, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was brown rice and stewed chickpeas and we didn't have red lentil chili. So then Saturday went so well that we decided to extend the vacation to Tuesday. And So we got up Saturday. We had our oatmeal, had a nectarine, and then we went back. So I don't know that my screen link will play audio, but you don't need it. I didn't take any photos. I thought I had a photo of the cooler bag. So went back on Sunday and decided to the initial float trip that we did. Let me see if I pull this up here. Let me see. Do you guys see the screen here? Let's see. So this is, I don't need any of this stuff up. So this is the area that we did our float trip here. And maybe if I get rid of, I don't know which map helps out better. So pull this off here. So anyways, I don't know which map. Maybe the terrain map will be the best one to do here. So is my cursor showing up on the screen? It is. So the first day that we did a float trip, we floated from the Scott Ford access, and we floated. The river kind of comes, heads back north, and then heads actually west a little bit, and then comes up around this direction here. And then we ended up at this Indian Springs. This is where we were camping. And so that float trip was like a 6-mile float trip that we did, that the whole family does. And it was an awesome float trip. And it was a lot of fun. And so we decided to extend the vacation, and I decided to float from the Indian Springs Resort here. And I left from there to go to the Lucky Clover resort over here. It's let me see, it should pop up over here. When I left, we kind of thought that that was a shorter trip. We had it kind of in our head that it was going to be half the distance of the float trip we did the day before. And so we set off on that, thinking we were going to float about half the day that we did the second day. And then we got out and we realized that it was going to be a lot longer float. But it was really awesome. It ended up that we floated from the Indian Springs Resort here, and then we floated by this Riverview access, which I kind of took note of because we used that later on Monday. And then we floated, and then when we got down to where like this 4J Vacation Rentals was, we did, hey Janet, how's it going? Hope you're having a great day. I don't know if, did I say hi earlier? Were you in here earlier? Oh, maybe I did say hi. When we got down to here, and I don't know if you guys are seeing these things very well where I'm marking, but when we got down to there was this cave or this natural spring that fed into the river, and I got a video of it. I'm not going to play the audio here, but I think you should be able to see what it looks like. So that's the river we were on, and then this is the spring that we came across here. The water was just crystal clear water, and really cold. It was probably 50 degrees or colder, the water that we came up here, and kind of just explored around. Let me see if this screen link is better. If no, it's I'm gonna make this bigger. I'm gonna screw up everything for me for the future, but so you guys can see it a little bit better. Here we go. but yeah, so that was the natural spring that we came across. And really the coolest thing about it was that I was even able to do this. When I was 520 pounds, it was everything that I had to even do the first day float trip. And so to be able to go down and do the first day float trip, then go out and do just as long of a float trip for the second day. And then I ended up actually going out and doing a trip on the third day after this. But this was so cool to be able to see this, and for my kids to get to see it too. You know, it was a long day and they were ready to be home at this point, but they still thought it was pretty awesome to get to check out something like that cave there. So let me see if I have, yeah, that's just a photo of my son down there getting his picture taken. This is us leaving that cave. That was something that so both of my kids were floating in inner tubes behind the kayak the whole trip. And when we set off, if I'd have known it was going to be longer, I would have probably had the kids in the kayak more than out of the kayak, because it would have made things go a little bit quicker versus having them in the kayak there. And then let me see what other photos I have from that. So that's about all the photos I have from that float trip that I did with the kids. That evening on Sunday, and Carrie actually said that that's what we had on Sunday evening. We had the Chef AJ's red lentil chili, and then we just mixed some brown rice into it to give it some volume. So that was dinner that day. Then breakfast on Monday, because we were out of our oatmeal, ended up being broccoli and potatoes, which I have no problem with that being our breakfast. And so that was breakfast on Monday. And then I set off, here's another, right after I resize this, I set off on another float trip with the twins now, our youngest two kids, on Monday. And I just floated from where we were camped down. It was about a mile downriver to the Riverview access that I kind of mentioned earlier. And as we were floating down the river, we were by ourselves because this was a Monday. And this bird, we kept kind of pushing it down river. As we kept coming down river, it would fly further down river. And so it was really cool to see that bird flying around and seeing that. This is photo of me Monday after we got back. Yeah, so then this is broccoli and potatoes. So I had that twice on Monday, but I don't mind it. We had plenty of table tasty, so I had that to eat, and I knew I had extended our vacation, and so I was gonna, and I would normally have had broccoli and potatoes for lunch on Monday, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. And then Monday later, I did have just a potato. It looks really small in this picture. It was a decent sized potato, but this was a pocket potato that I had. And then Monday night, I had some of the plant-based Gabriel burgers. We had a couple of those left over. And this was another recipe that my mother-in-law made that was awesome. This was like the Tex-Mex Spanish rice that we have. It was one of the, it's on our Pinterest board. I think it was something Tex-Mex, that this was really good as well. So I ate a lot of this on Monday night after being on the river and doing all that kayaking. I was hungry, and so I ate. And then let me see, the next photo I have here is What does these say? So, okay. So then Monday morning, I had the leftovers from the dinner on Tuesday morning. I had the leftovers from Monday night, and then I had more broccoli and potatoes before we got on the road. And so had a great weekend of food for sure. And I do have a couple other photos I was going to share here. Carrie had taken these photos. I hadn't seen them until today, but this was how the float trip ended on the first day. So Carrie is in a tandem kayak with nobody riding with her. I am in a single kayak with the number 5 on my back there, and I am towing 2 of my kids and my dog back on the kayak for the last little bit here. This is a photo of all of us. Actually, if you'd have to look close, and I didn't download a photo, but this is my daughter, my older daughter, on a one-man kayak, and then on the back of my one-man kayak is one of my twins that is just sitting on the back as her older sister tows her in. And so Carrie says that her kayak flipped towards the beginning of the trip, and so the kids were not dying to ride with her after that. Yes, it was, we had all of the experiences you could have had out there, as far as there was ups and downs, and kids had energy at some points and didn't have energy at other points. And so it was something where it was fun. But, and you can see up off in the distance, there's all kinds of people floating down the river, which was much different the other days that we went kayaking. And so the last photo I'm going to show here is something that I get asked about loose skin all the time. And I think this photo probably shows off my loose skin as much as any photo that I've had of myself. You can kind of see it in my arms and my body, my stomach. I'm really proud that I have that skin to wear, I guess, or that it shows as loose. I was back and forth talking to Carrie prior to us going on the trip about, like whether I'm going to wear the shirt, whether I'll take my shirt off or not have my shirt on, what I'm going to do with that. It was something I thought about, because you're a little bit self-conscious about your skin, and that doesn't go away just because you lost weight. And it actually, I was planning on, swimming, and while I was swimming, not having my shirt on. But, when I was in the kayak, I would likely have my shirt on. And we were floating down the river, and what kind of helped push me over the edge to not really care was we were floating down the river, and there was a group of people that weren't with us at all. And one of the guys in the group was riding, and he didn't have his shirt on, and it was pretty apparent that he had lost a lot of weight as well. And he didn't seem to care what people thought. And so it kind of helped me kind of be like, you know what, it doesn't matter. And so I did end up kayaking for a while without my shirt on, and the sun was out, it was real hot, so it was kind of periods of time where I would go back and forth between having a shirt on and not having a shirt on. And it wasn't really until 10 minutes before I started the stream that I even knew this photo existed, because Carrie had posted it on her social media for the whole world to see, I guess. But I don't mind it, like I said, it's something where it's somewhat a badge of honor, and it's really not that bad at this point. As I lose more weight, it's going to loosen up some more. But when I think of all of the things that I was able to do in the past 5 days because that skin is not full of fat, it's amazing. Carrie says it's me. You've come a long way. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. And just the yeah, what having that loose skin now is unlocked for me. The being able to do a 6 mile kayak and then the next day take 2 of my kids and drag them down the river for 6 miles because I took one paddle and 3 people and they sat in inner tubes and I drug them down the river. And then the third day I took the 2 youngest kids and we went a mile down river. And then I decided to bring the kayak back up river myself for the mile instead of packing it up. And it was awesome that I was able to do that. To do over again, I would not have done that mile kayak back up river, but I was able to do it. And the biggest reason why I wouldn't do it again is because I had the wrong shoes on. I had some really thin soled like water shoes on, and I ended up hitting a couple points that I had to walk the kayak through kind of faster water because I wasn't able to paddle it fast enough to go up through the stream. And so I ended up having to get out and walk for a few sections, and I ended up hurting my feet, which sucks, but I survived. And there's something about this diet too, because I have done no working out. Like I took the kayak out twice prior to this trip. And once was with the whole family and we just kind of putzed around and everybody took turns using it. And the other time it was with my dog and I was out on the water for maybe an hour and a half at the most. And I had to do some paddling, but it wasn't like it was a huge workout. It wasn't being on the river for 7 hours. And so that's all of the work. That's all the training or working out I had done prior. And I went out on that river and went for 7 miles and then did it again the next day and then did another 2 miles. And my muscles are not sore. I can feel that I've done like activity with them, especially my right bicep, because I just had surgery on my right bicep in December. And so I just had that reattached. But I don't have any muscle fatigue. Like when I would go to the gym and do workouts and do lifts, my muscles would be sore for days afterwards. And I have none of that. I don't have any soreness in my body. And, maybe I didn't take photos of it, but we did have some cherries. Maybe it was the cherries I ate that helped me. Because that's, if you followed along, you maybe would know that I had an addiction to cherry juice back in 2021 when I was working out to try to do the sprint triathlon that I did. And I was drinking cherry juice all the time to help with the inflammation. And so we did have some cherries. Didn't have cherry juice. Ate the whole cherry. But maybe that helped reduce some of the inflammation. But I mean, yeah, there's something to it. Like I said, I think there's something to the diet. I didn't have soreness. I wasn't super hungry. Like I'm eating so many carbohydrates that when I burn that energy, my body has carbohydrates to go and grab the energy from. And so I'm able to replenish the energy that I expend. Oh, that just disconnected. But yeah, I'm just real happy with it. See if this pops back up here. Pretty Girl's mom here says, I wouldn't mind showing mine either. Good job, John. Yeah, I don't mind it. And yeah, I mean, like if we'd have just gone and done just that float trip, and it would have been, yeah, I did something that I've done before at 520 pounds. I don't know if I was ever 520 pounds and went floating, but I was pretty big at one point. And to be able to do that, and then be able to explore that river, like this is probably the fourth or fifth time I've been, maybe more. I've probably been more than that on this trip. But I never got to know the river like I do now. And it just opens up the possibilities for what we can do there, like being able to do that Monday trip. Maybe in the future, we can decide to do the same thing I did, where we, on Saturday, we do the family float trip. On Sunday, we do a float trip down to that cave there, the natural spring. And then on Monday, we go down and do a family thing. That wouldn't be awful to do. And overall, it was just a great experience to disconnect, be with the family, show off to my kids that I can be a fun dad sometimes. I'm not always mean. And I got to be the best dad in the world once I decided to extend the vacation. So Matthew here says, it can never be said enough. Congratulations, Jonathan. Thank you, Matthew. You have 20 pounds to go to lose one half of yourself. That's awesome. And when you do, it will be the greatest day ever. It is. That is awesome. Just 20 pounds away from being half. That is incredible. Keep it up and keep going. And just eating this way just has changed so much about how I feel about health and weight loss and all kinds of things. And I guess let me see, the last thing I'll talk about today, and I should give it its own, yes. And Carrie says, yes, we'll be celebrating along with you. Yes. Let us know when you get there, because you will get there. It just takes the time that it takes. But you will get there. Just keep eating this way. Keep filling your stomach, and eating an abundance of food that is good for you, that's healthy for you. Which gets me on to the next point. I just finished the book, Grain by Grain, that I'm not even sure who recommended it to me. I know it was one of you guys, and I really appreciate it. I really liked the book. It really does a lot to not only talk about the food that we eat, but what we do by trying to globalize the world and by getting away from the natural foods that we have, and they talk about, he talks a lot about wheat, because that's what he farms himself, or, what his family has farmed for years, and how this reductionist idea, and it's almost, that in combination with the book Whole, that I read by Colin Campbell, kind of, they talk about similar things, but different, but just that all they care about is the very smallest part of that wheat. They don't care about the germ and the bran, and they don't care about the taste or the quality. They just care about having the product. And a lot of what he talks about is that these farmers are barely making by with this product that they're selling. You know, they're growing this commodity, and it's the problem is that it's looked at as a commodity and it's treated like a commodity, but they're growing this resource for us that they're getting paid pennies on the dollar for. And in some cases, they're having to get subsidies from the government to even continue to operate their farm. And these corporations, they're making billions in profit. And it's crazy. It's like we are, by subsidizing the farmer, we're allowing him to sell his grain for cheaper to these food manufacturers that then put this incredible profit on it. And they're not paying the subsidies. Everybody's paying the subsidies. And then they're probably not paying taxes on their profits because they have accountants and lobbyists figured out to how they can make it so they don't have to pay taxes. And it's this crazy system where the person who's producing the food is not being rewarded for what they're producing. So they have no incentive to produce a better product. All they have an incentive to do is to produce more volume of a product. And when that happens, the quality goes away from the food. And so I really like the book. There's a lot that you could break down and talk about with the book. I think that there's some similarities between what happens in that commodity, you know, or in that wheat market. I see it I run a moving business, and we deal with labor, and, you know, the cost of labor has been getting driven down for years and years. And by driving the cost down, you end up getting a lower quality of labor. And in the end, you end up having to pay for that because you have claims and you have issues with, losses like that, damages of people's property and things. And so, yeah, there's got to be a lot of things that end up changing in our food systems. Could use a lot of changes. Ron here says that the farmers struggle since they are pushed to use chemical fertilizers, etc., but are not always guaranteed to work. Yeah, the book, he goes over so many cool things about how that all kind of works, and how they find that in some years they can produce a higher yield through their organic crops than they would have produced using the chemically treated and chemically altered things that it's not always beneficial to do those farming techniques. And some of the other things is that I think that he's seen is that there has been global temperature changes in his region, and that he talks about at one point of the book that he was unable to grow watermelons when he was a kid because the climate and temperature didn't allow it. But now he grew a 30-pound watermelon in recent years, and that's because the climate changes, and things that used to grow well aren't going to grow well there anymore. And they have to adapt to these changes. And he does. Like, it's just awesome. Like how much he seems to be in tune with his environment and his world. And there's so many people around him that left. That's another thing that he talks about too, is that these mega corporations, they bought up these farms So then these farmers go from being business owners to being employees of these mega corporations. And so they end up making less money um, because they're not running their own farm. And um, it really just, it again drives prices down. But then that makes it so that there's people with less money going to the gas station and going and eating at the diners and going to the bars. So it it's just, yeah, just the crazy effect that the the get big or get out mentality has caused on the farm industry. Um, and and I've heard different stories and things over the years. I knew years ago that, the stories, like there used to be a whole industry of people that would collect the seeds from crops to harvest for the next year. And those don't exist anymore because these mega corporations own the patents to the seeds, or they own the rights to the seeds. So you can't even collect the seeds. You have to buy seed from them, which just seems like a money drain. Like if you the crop you're growing produces the seeds for the next year, it seems like it's much better. And yeah, and the other stuff he talks about is adding, the fertilizers and the pesticides. They all treat the plant that is growing out of the ground. And what he talks about a lot is that he changed his focus to the soil, that he gave the plant a good environment to grow in. And that is how that reduced the need for the pesticides and the herbicides, because they were treating the soil. They were doing cover crops, and they were letting that organic material go back in to the thing. And that there's a analogy that I was thinking about recently about the environment, and about how diet in our environment, and how I'm just so happy with this diet, and I'm not concerned about the speed of the diet. And what there's the analogy that I'm thinking about is like, we are an ice cube in a tray, and we're sitting inside of a freezer, and the freezer is the diet that we've eaten, the standard American diet that we've always eaten, and or that we're surrounded by. That's the food that we think of as food, because no matter what happened, anytime I was on a diet, I made changes about how much I ate, and I made changes about how much I worked out, but I never changed what I thought of as food. I thought of cheeseburgers, hamburgers, the tortillas, the burritos, the lasagnas. I thought of all of this stuff, pizzas, all of that stuff was food. And that was the environment, or that was that I surrounded myself in, is the food. And that's like, we're an ice cube, and we're trying to not be an ice cube. And every other diet I had done in the past, I didn't change the environment. I never got out of the freezer. I went into the freezer with a torch, and I sprayed that torch on that ice cube to melt it. And I would eat less food. I would work out as hard as I could. I would do all of these crazy things, but I was still in a food environment that was below 32 degrees. So as soon as I took the torch off, I melted the ice cube all the way till it was normal water. And then I take the torch off and the freezer's still there. That food that I used to eat is still there. Uh, and it just froze the water again. And so while I had the torch on it, while I was focused hard on it, I could get the ice to melt, but I couldn't keep it there. And the way I feel like with this diet is that I've taken the ice cube tray and I've taken it out of the freezer and I've put it in the refrigerator, or I've put it on the counter. I've changed the environment around me so that the food that I think of as food is completely different. I think of rice and beans and lettuce and kale and spinach and asparagus. I think of those things as foods. I think of, just plain potatoes as food. I've changed the environment that I'm sitting in, and eventually that ice cube's going to melt and it's going to turn into water. And I'm not going to have to worry about it refreezing because I'm not putting it back in the freezer. I'm not going back to that food that I used to eat. I have new food. Ron here says that the author of the book Grain by Grain, he said he found the author's background of being in farming yet having a PhD. It was very interesting. You found his focus on the scientific method with farming great. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was a plant botanist, or that's what he went to school studying, was plant botany. And but he grew up on the farm, and then he moved back to his family farm, and that's when he started experimenting with some of this organic stuff. And it sounded like he had his dad kind of backing him, which was great too. Matt here says Dr. John McDougall calls it food poisoning. The world is addicted to food poisoning. Yeah, absolutely. It's low dosage of poison that there's no, and then that goes to the pleasure trap. There's no moderate amount of that poison that is acceptable in your diet. Like it's yeah, you're just slowly going to poison yourself. So, I had a million things that I could have talked about this weekend, and I'll probably talk more about them tomorrow. If anybody has any questions about any of the photos I showed or the trip at all, let me know. I do have a bunch of video that I'm going to try to piece together something. I mean, there's no like theme, or like, it's just, I got the camera out a few times and just videoed what was going on. So if you guys are interested in seeing a video like that, let me know. And I'll try to put something together on that. But yeah, I had a great weekend. There's not going to be a weigh-in today. I will be weighing in again next Wednesday. My weight was up, but I'm not worried about it. It wasn't up because I ate anything off plan. It was up because I ate so much food that was on plan. I also think that maybe my body might have, I might have some inflammation because I do have a little bit of sunburn, or I wouldn't, yeah, like my skin is hot in a few spots. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's sunburnt, but like on my back, kind of an area that I don't normally have out in the sun. And so there might be some inflammation from that, which is something that I could see happening with getting a sunburn. But it's not going to matter because eventually I'm going to melt into that water. So, but thanks guys for all of the support. Sorry that I kind of left you hanging. I did not intend to be gone Monday, Tuesday, but yeah, I'm glad that I spent the time with the family. I'm glad that I got to hang out with my wife's family for a little bit longer, got to know some of them a little bit more. I'm really thankful my mother-in-law did such a great job making a bunch of food. And so, and it was nice to take a break from life, without having to take a break from my diet. I have a very stressful 2 months coming up. I'm not going to be live a lot through the end of July. I'll be live here for the first half of July, but the second half, I kind of am going to be gone. So, you'll see me, in August. I'll be live, but, so yeah, I was happy to take a break now because I know how busy my life's going to get. And if I didn't take a break, my kids would probably have thought I was a crazy person by the end of the summer. So it was good to take a break. But I got some running to do, got to take the dog to dog training and all that fun stuff. So you guys all have a wonderful evening. I appreciate you so much. If you have not subscribed to the channel, get subscribed to the channel. Click on that bell icon to get alerted when I go live or post new videos. Hit the like button on this video. A few people said it was a great talk today, wonderful talk today. We'll make sure you're hitting that like button. And thank you for the wonderful comments. And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health or your overall well-being. Your body will thank you for eating nutritious whole foods. I promise. It just takes a little bit of time and you feel amazing. Get started now. Nobody regrets it. I absolutely, or nobody, yeah, people regret not starting sooner. So get started now. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.